With great power comes a great rogues gallery. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 villains we want to see in Spider-Man PS4. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at villains we'd love to see make an appearance in Insomniac Games' Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. We're looking specifically at villains from Spider-Man's rogues gallery. We should also point out that a few villains have already been confirmed for the game, like Kingpin, Shocker, Mr. Negative, and of course, the Green Goblin.
Miles, he's gonna be helping out around here.
For acts of extraordinary bravery.
Number 10, Kraven the Hunter.
That was incidental. I did not betray you. I truly taught you all I knew.
Sergei Kravinoff is a hunter who strives to be the best in the world, obsessed with proving that there's no prey on Earth that he could not take down. It just so happens that he sees Spider-Man as the ultimate prey, which is bad news for Peter. However, Kraven is one of the more honorable villains in Spidey's rogues gallery, as he holds himself to a code and keeps his fights fair-ish. Well, I suppose if you're gonna hunt down Spider-Man, you might as well make the fight exciting in some way, right? Kraven's been featured as a boss in a number of different Spider-Man games, and we'd love to see how Insomniac would implement him in their universe.
I beg you, kill me. Give me death over defeat.
Number 9, Scorpion.
You put me in this suit, now I'm going to make you pay!
Get over it, Gargan!
There have been a number of villains who have taken up the name Scorpion across the Marvel Universe, but the one we're talking about here is Mac Gargan. When J. Jonah Jameson became suspicious of Parker, he hired Gargan to follow him. Of course, Parker easily escaped him. So logically, Jameson put Gargan into an experiment where he could control a giant mechanical tail. However, he was also injected with a mutagen that began to mess with his mental stability. Big shock there. With Spider-Man PS4 taking place 8 years after Peter Parker has become the web-slinger, Gargan could easily be introduced while keeping his backstory intact.
Go back to your corporate masters!
Number 8, Sandman.
Jeez, talk about a dirt nap. Where's the...
Looking for this, webhead?
Crime has had a strong presence in the life of William Baker, aka Flint Marko, aka Sandman. After all, with 3 different names, you gotta have a troubled life, right? His father walked out on him and his mother during his early childhood, and he was bullied at school by his classmates and teachers, and he eventually began a life of petty crime. After breaking into a testing facility, Baker found himself caught in an experiment involving radioactive sand. Since becoming the Sandman, Baker hasn't devised the most complex of schemes. However, he has proven to be a formidable opponent when he goes up against Spidey, so that would be fun in the game, right?
Make him twist in the wind.
Number 7, Lizard.
Words, Connors, with syllables?
During his time as a war surgeon, Dr. Kurt Connors fell victim to a powerful explosion, which led to the amputation of his right arm. Fascinated by reptiles and their ability to regenerate limbs, Connors became obsessed with his research until he concocted a successful serum, air quotes. Even though the serum gave him his right arm back, it caused Connors to morph into a giant reptilian beast. So there were pros and cons. What's interesting about this villain is that in some stories, the Lizard seems to be a separate entity from Connors, and in others, they treat the characters as one person. This would allow Insomniac to construct an interesting story around the Lizard, even if it's only for a few DLC missions or something. Number 6, Vulture.
I am more powerful than ever!
After crafting what would become his signature flight harness, Adrian Toomes discovered his former business partner, Gregory Bestman, had been embezzling funds. In the midst of his rage, Toomes found that his harness gives him superhuman strength and flight. Thus, the Vulture was born. From the many cartoons and comics to the recent Spider-Man Homecoming, the Vulture has had some pretty unique designs. It'd be interesting to see Insomniac's take on the character too, and his airborne abilities could make for a challenging boss fight high above the city.
Now that I'm here, let's pluck some feathers out of Chicken Man.
Number 5, Electro.
I warned you to stay away. Now it's too late.
A menace so powerful that Spider-Man's strength is useless against him. This was actually the phrase that was used for the cover of the comic when Electro made his debut. During his time as a normal electrical engineer, Max Dillon was repairing a broken power line when he was struck by lightning, causing him to become a living electric conductor. Not only is his modern design pretty damn cool, but seeing his powers in action could create some gorgeous cinematic moments and show off those next-gen graphics too. Besides, Electro's appeared in a ton of other Spider-Man games, so leaving him out wouldn't feel right. Number 4, Mysterio.
You dare to challenge the infinite mind of Mysterio?
He may not have the most intriguing of backstories, but he's still one of the best Spider-Man villains. Quentin Beck was a special effects whiz and a stuntman before he tried his hand at acting. Suffering a miserable failure, Beck used his knowledge in illusions to become Mysterio. With Mysterio in the game, Insomniac could create some interesting levels to play with our minds. Although we have a feeling he'll just threaten to delete our save files or something. That'd be scary.
You cannot escape Mysterio. All-seeing, all-powerful.
Number 3, Carnage.
Oh my god.
You know, the other villains on this list have had troubled pasts, but still have some kind of mental stability. Carnage is not like them. Don't be like Carnage. Before he bonded with the symbiote, Cletus Cassidy was already leading the life of a murderous psychopath. He pushed his grandmother down a flight of stairs, burned down an orphanage, and even attempted to murder his own mom. And that was just his childhood. After bonding with the symbiote, Cassidy's thirst for blood became unstable. Carnage has been featured in plenty of Spider-Man games, and he's a real fan favorite, so we'd just love to see him in this one too.
What'd you say?
Number 2, Dr. Octopus.
I'm here. Where is she?
Oh, she's safe. For now.
Of all the villains Spider-Man has encountered, none have proved to be as intelligent as Doc Ock. Before he became the criminally insane mastermind, Otto Octavius was a brilliant scientist, for a change, who became fused with his metallic arms after a radiation leak. It was the 60s, everything revolved around radiation. Anyway, since then his mind has been warped by the arms themselves, forcing him to live the life of a criminal. He's a character with a complicated, sympathetic backstory, part of which was what made Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 such a good film. On top of that though, Octavius is responsible for forming the Sinister Six, so should the other members appear in the game, we could have a truly exciting Spider-Man experience on our hands. Not that it doesn't look that way already.
We have a bargain. Now, how to catch the freak.
Before we unveil our top pick, here's an honorable mention.
But fortunately for the web-slinger, Rhino's only got a one-track mind.
Number 1, Venom. Needless to say, Venom, aka Eddie Brock, is one of Spidey's most terrifying enemies. Not only has he proven to be a menace as a supervillain, but he's also just as intimidating outside of his criminal activities. Eddie is driven entirely by his jealousy and hatred for Peter Parker. As such, the symbiote virus couldn't have found a better host. There's actually a good chance Venom will be in the game, knowing that the Venom movie releases a month after launch. Although, our big question is how he's gonna fit into the story. Has Eddie even become Venom yet? Will we get to fight alongside him in a temporary alliance, maybe against Carnage? We can only wait and find out.
The heist you pulled at the Science Expo. You're the bad guy this time.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.